me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Evening everyone, I hope everyone's had a good day on this dark, cold Sunday afternoon. Been another one of those days of running about. I can tell you all one thing, it is a nightmare when your wife's birthday is in a couple of days' time, and then it's Christmas, and then it's your daughter's birthday 2 days after Christmas. And people wonder why I don't like December. Well, with this game coming up today, Spurs Southampton, it's another one of those games we sit there and we all say we should be winning this one. I mean, Southampton got to be possibly the worst team in the country at the moment. We should walk all over this one. Not a problem. Even if we got 5, 6, 7 injuries and that, we should have a powerful enough team to sort out Southampton. But I don't think you're going to find many people out there. You'll find a few, but I don't think we're going to find many people out there that have got it completely justified to believe that Spurs are just going to walk through this one. No game in the Premiership is easy. We all know that. But with the way we've been playing lately, would anybody really be surprised if we didn't win this one? And that is the problem with it at the moment. I mean, that's what? 1 win now in how many games? How many clean sheets in how many games? The list is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the pressure on Ange is getting more and more and more. If he does not win this game today, I'm not talking about getting a draw. I'm talking about a win. If he does not win this today, surely he has got to be literally on his last legs. Literally. I mean, like on the title I put, walking. He is literally walking the plank every game we play now. He is walking that plank. I mean, sooner or later, he's going to walk off that pirate ship and he's going to go into the ocean. That's the way I see it. And then hopefully drift away that we don't see him again. But if he wins this game, okay, that'll give him a bit of breathing space. But then we got the cup game, then we got other games coming up. We still got European games in January. The injuries are starting to pile up. Is there a chance that they pile on more? Of course there is. I mean, he's even at the point now where he's making statements like, I have no option but to play Timo Werner. I have no choice but to play him. Mate, you picked him 2 years on the fucking trot. What do you expect? And then, do you know what? Just go back to what he did the other day. I thought that dig he had at Timo Werner was actually quite below the belt. People are going to ask why. Reason being, I think he's just diverted the pressure off himself a little bit there. I mean, Werner was crap. We all know that. He's crap anyway. We all know that. You don't have to tell us that, Ange. We know that. We told you this when you got him on loan. And then we told you again when you got him on loan for a whole season. But no, the manager knows best. I think it was a bit of a cheap shot because there's been other players in that team who've played just as bad when they've played. I mean, Son has not looked the piece at all, has he, up front? Up front, Solanke, give and take, yeah, better than Werner. Johnson does his one thing, disappears totally for a game, okay. But there's been other players in that team. Basuma, 1 game good, 2 games bad, 3 games bad. No one in that team has looked really solid, not for a little while now. But he goes and picks out Timo Werner out of that. Well, maybe you should have a look in the mirror, mate, and have a look at how shit you're doing. You're meant to be the manager. You're meant to have man management on you. You're meant to have game management on you. How poor does Ange look like he's doing at the moment? So for me, that little stunt he pulled with Werner, even though it was true, was a bit of a kick in the balls. Just to divert the pressure off himself, I think. Because we can definitely see that the pressure is starting to mount on Ange now. And he's starting to show very much the way he does press conferences and everything when it comes down to that. His whole attitude. I mean, what's the other thing he stated after that? I'm trying to remember now. He has no choice but to play Werner because he's literally pulling kids out of schools. What sort of comment is that to make? Pulling kids out of schools? Well, mate, if you're talking about pulling kids out of schools or you're talking about playing younger players, I thought this was a youth project. I thought that's why we got Archie Gray and Bergvall and Odegaard, because this is a youth project you wanted to do, Ange, and it's a youth project you're part of. But then he's complaining that he's got to use the younger generation as such, the young kids, the school kids, like he said. I feel the man's contradicting himself a lot. Now I'm just waiting for, it should be about half hour, maybe an hour. Then I'm going to be on here for about an hour and a half to see the team we're going to have. I mean, Basuma, he's suspended. Obviously, we know we got no Benton Core. We got no centre-backs properly, apart from Jagusan. The Doji's absolutely shattered. Porro looks shattered up front. He said he's going to have to play Werner. Hopefully, we get Solanke up there. Where he's going to play Kulusevski, whether he plays him in the middle or the right, sticks Johnson on the right. I don't know. Only time will tell with this one. But we are in a predicament now where if he does not win this one, surely this has got to be his last leg. If he cannot go out there and beat Southampton, this has got to be the last one for him. I mean, not being able to go and beat Rangers, a team in the Scottish Premier League who isn't even that good, looking better in Europe than they do at home, I'll give it that one. But he can't even go and beat a team like that. The way we played against them, the way we've played in general, I think his days are numbered. And if he does not win today, I mean, for me, I think Daniel Levy's already out there looking for a new manager just in case for the end of January. Because I think anybody can see what's coming here. It looks like, to me, again, looks like he's lost the dressing room or a lot of it. Players are now starting to make comments. I mean, Lo Celso, even he's popped up out of nowhere. Bit of a different thing I've gone to here. Backed up Romero, basically, in the aspect of saying that Daniel Levy is a problem. That the boardroom is the problem. No, they didn't use the name Levy exactly, but we all know what it was aimed at. Let's hope a few more players come out and do this. But there's definitely going to be some restless in that dressing room, without a doubt. So today, only time will tell. Am I looking forward to this Southampton game? No, I'm not. I should be as a Spurs fan. I should be looking forward to this game because we should be walking through it. But we all know what it is. Write the other team off on your peril, basically, especially when Tottenham is playing Ange ball, Ange Spurs, whatever way you want to put it. Because we haven't looked convincing at any stage in the past 10 games, bar that City game. Okay, so I'm going to say hello to a few people. Tom, how you doing, mate? Big up Dan and chat. Not confident for tonight. Confident for tonight. I'm not quite unconfident, but I agree, I'm not confident. I'm a bit restless with this one. It's that fact of, like I'm saying, we should be doing this. But whether we do or don't, and we all know with the manager and we all know the way we're playing, this is why people like you, like me, and a lot of others out there are starting to say, I'm not too confident, or I don't know what way to turn. We don't know what Spurs are going to turn up. We haven't got a clue. I think we're at a point with this club where I'd say 90% fans are more clueless than they ever have been in what team is going to turn up. We just don't know. We have not got a single idea. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. We could be playing against the best team in the world, and we actually have a team that come up that can give them a game. And we can play the worst team in the world and get absolutely smacked as well. Nobody knows what's coming. I do agree with you, mate. Nobody knows what's going to happen here. Big up, Tony. Big up to you, mate. Big up, Dan, Guess, and chat. Southampton Spurs 3-1 Southampton. Ouch. Score, people. Give me a couple of opinions on what you think the score is going to be. I mean, I'm just finding it very hard to call this one. But big up to you, Tony, anyway. And Scott M, Ange out every day, all day. Yep. I think the man's got to go as well, mate. And Mark Swift saying, yes, Dan, he's a long one. Snake A, big up. Yes, it is, mate. Mark Taylor, evening, Dan, man, the legend, appreciated. Big up to you too, mate. And Rob, what you saying here, mate? Evening, Dan, Ange out, Levy out. The Ange out bit is starting to grow. It's definitely starting to grow with the people. I'm starting to see a lot of people on other channels and that starting to swing over now in the aspect of they're losing confidence with a man, or they've lost confidence with him. You do think, how much more can he do before people properly turn against him? I've never seen a manager at Tottenham, and you know what? I struggle to even think of a manager in football get backed by the fan base like this. How poor he is, but why are they even backing him for the right reasons? Or does most of it just come down to the fact that we don't want a new bloody manager and start all over again? When people just can see that this manager is just not, he just hasn't got it. And Anthony Clark, AFC, big up Dan and chat, big up to you, mate. And Boy216, evening everyone, evening to you, mate. Mark, get that fraud out my club now. And Robert, what he's saying, evening everyone, lose tonight and Ange will probably walk. That is what I said. The question is, though, will he? Will he actually walk? Or will they hold on to him? Because what I can see happening is that even if it all goes to shit, which it pretty much has anyway, I can still see Levy pulling a stunt of holding on to him till the end of January, no matter how we're doing. Spending no money on transfers and then getting rid of Ange right at the end of January, at the end of the transfer window. Reason I see him doing that is because he would have the perfect excuse, Levy, Mr. Levy, to sit back and say, well, look how poor he's been doing, look how poor we've been doing. I couldn't have the faith, I couldn't put more money into him. And then saying, but I also wanted to give some of the fans what they wanted and be seen to give him a fair chance, but he's now gone to that point, he's gone past it, I've had to get rid of him. So there's his excuse not to spend the money as well. And that is what I could see happening. End of January, that is when Ange, if he's going to get rid of him, I think we'll let him go. Because then he doesn't have to spend no money in that transfer window. And it all falls into place nicely for Mr. Levy. But that's just a personal opinion. And Mark, what you saying here, mate? If Ange gets the sack, I hear Scott M will just wear cowboy boots on YouTube. Wouldn't surprise me, mate. He definitely wants him out. I think a lot of us want him out, but I think Scott wants him out significantly more than a majority of people. And Scott M laughing at what you said there. And Mark, if he loses this game, he has to go surely. Surely. But again, I could see it just waiting until the end of January. And then that is when Levy kick him out, basically. So he hasn't got to spend no money in the transfer window. That would suit Daniel Levy down to a T. I mean, what other teams would be putting up with this crap, really, in the top 6 so-called club? What other team would put up with this stuff? The teams we have lost against. Okay, we've won some against some bigger teams. But the way we have lost some games as well, and the games we have lost, I just cannot see how this man gets as much support as he does and how he gets as much faith of it as he does. But I suppose it's Spurs at the end of the day. Only certain things happen at Spurs, don't they? Tottenham. And Scott M, what you say, Mark Swift, when Ange's sacked, I might start my own channel just so I can have 24-hour party. And Mark saying, Scott M, you can block me, you can block me on that. And Mark saying, I like the sound of that. Gonna have a guest who wants to come on with me in a minute. Brian, if you want to come on, mate, feel free, let me know. I'll send you the link. Tell you what, I'll just do it now quickly. 1 second, people. Just in case you do. If you're not busy, mate, feel free to jump on. You know you're always welcome. I'm sure your opinion won't be too different to ours, but we shall see. And then anyway, Brian, good afternoon, everyone in chat. And brother Dan, hope you're all well. Apart from the bloody birthday shopping this morning, mate, I'm all fine. My wallet and my credit card is hurting very badly at the moment. And Mark, look who it is, Brian and Mark Taylor. If he doesn't get a result today and loses the game against Man U, he's got to go. I would hope so as well. I think so as well. And Mark saying, yes, Dan. And here we go. Dietrich, how we doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good. How are you, mate? How's everything doing?
Apart from doing a massive day of birthday shopping and Christmas shopping and that, I'm all right. Like I just said a minute ago, my credit card and my bloody wallet is hurting.
But there's still a week left
First team.
till Christmas.
Well, what is it? 10 days. Yeah, but it's my wife's birthday in a couple of days on Tuesday, so I have to buy presents. And then it's my daughter's birthday 2 days after bloody Christmas, so I've then got to buy presents for that as well. And
shit, that's the worst timing.
It gets expensive. It gets bloody expensive. And then do you know what the joke of it is, yeah? The joke of it is my birthday's in the middle of January, which has always been the shittest time to have a birthday because everybody's broke from Christmas and New Year. Hasn't had their first monthly payment back and everything, and just too absolutely done from Christmas and New Year to bloody do anything. All the events have shut down, all the places are shut down, everything. And it was always a right bastard to have a good night out, having your birthday in the middle of January. But that's just me ranting about that. And Bill, what you're saying here, mate, both teams have 7 injuries each tonight. No excuse. I can agree on that. And Simon, what you're saying, big up Dan. If we don't win this game, surely Ange is gone. Not just him gone though. He is only half the problem. Yep, but we all know Levy ain't going nowhere soon. And Mark Cook, hello to chat. Hello to you too. Mark Swift, sub up to Scott Channel. Much love. And Daniel Turner, what are you saying here, mate? We have to win today. I don't want to watch another poor performance. No, nor do I, but you know we're going to get them. I mean, Dietrich, something I want to ask you here, yeah?
Yeah.
Something Ange has gone round and said here, yeah? He said it on the news, clear as day. Players need and have to be up for a fight now. No excuses, yeah? So if he wants players that are up for a fight and he wants players that can fight, why was he the idiot that stood there and said, I don't want no leaders, I want to make leaders? Because for me, if you want players to be up for a fight, you need to have some leaders on that pitch. Or am I just exaggerating this to have a dig at Ange?
Well, that's a great question because for me, anything he says, I take it with a pinch of salt because I never believe any bullshit he says. When you say you want to win, you want like fighters, then for me, you should not be buying young kids. You should be buying ready-made players. And you had one in Højbjerg and you decided to sell him in the summer. So why are you once again contradicting yourself?
And then
I
also
just like honestly
complaining. God, mate. Sorry.
for me
Go
to
on,
get the
finish.
fight, first of all, you need the right players and you need the right
Mhm.
mentality. If I see my manager that's always fighting for me, always barking at the refs, always barking at the other team, or I'm my teammates when we're not playing well, that's a fighter. But it needs to be translated on your team, man. They always say the squad is always a copy of the manager, and if the manager is soft, clueless bastard, then the team will be clueless on the field. That's just the way it is. You need a general. You cannot go out there with like by yourself as a soldier. You need a general.
And he doesn't really seem to do much on the touchline. With what you've said there, though, it also goes with a thing I said earlier with what he's had to say, that the fact he has to play Timo Werner because he has no choice but to play him today, because he's
No,
basically pulling kids out of schools and having to play younger players if he don't. Well, isn't this a youth project? Isn't this what this is all about?
exactly. Well, first of all, you nobody forced you to put a gun at your face and told you buy Timo Werner once again. Nobody did. And in my opinion, if you don't want to play, if you don't have the wingers to play your system, how about you change the formation to a 3-5-2? And you don't play with wingers, you play with Son and Solanke up top. And you play with proper wingbacks. He has the opportunity to fix the problem, because every team goes to injuries. Unfortunately, we're unlucky, but you decided to take Timo Werner. You decided not to play the youngsters and made them like ready-made. And he tried to play a dangerous game, now it's playing against him. They're like this in poker. Always play with the cards you have and don't play the man.
I mean, in poker, you can bluff it a few times, you can get away with it a few times, then
Yeah,
people start reading that you're bluffing it, and then
exactly.
people call your bluff, and then people absolutely screw you, and you lose everything you've got.
Yeah, you gotta play with the cards you have.
And he doesn't, does he?
No, he doesn't. For me, if I don't have the wingers, I'll just play with two at top. And tell my fullbacks to play as wingers. But you don't want to, so joke's on you.
I mean, with this game today, this is a game we should, and I do say should, we should be winning this game today, even though it is an away game. I've always said the Premier League, anybody can beat anybody. We all know that, yeah. But they've got to be probably the worst team in the Premier League at this moment in time. Would you agree?
Yeah, they're the worst team because factually, we always struggle at Southampton. Every time, I don't know why. And they're dead last in the league, so they're gonna be more up for it. And at the moment, we're not in a good streak. We won what, like one game in 7?
Something along those lines, something like 1 in 8, whatever else. I
Yeah.
mean, it's starting to look really bad. I mean, not just bad. I mean, like really bad. And then after that, we've got, what is it? The cup game in Man U, Liverpool, Forest, Wolves, Newcastle. I mean, to me, his days are numbered. Surely they are, aren't they? Unless he goes out and wins this game, wins the next game, wins the game after, and gets a little roll on as such. But
Yeah,
I
but
just don't see that happening when you've got when you've
yeah,
still
it's not
got.
happening. It's not. His days are numbered, I'm telling you this right now. Like Jordan just said, no, Mappin just said here, Bergvall technically has to start this game. Because we have way too many games in January. We have Man U, we have Liverpool, we have Forest, and I think we have Wolves too. We can't afford not to use the squad properly. I know I don't rate the squad, I said it a million times, but you just don't have a choice now. Just leave the stubbornness out of you and play with the most informed players. And this game for me too, I would play Jet Spence. Because Poro is knackered.
He's
But we all,
shot, isn't he?
he is shot, but I know damn well he's not gonna play him. So I'm just hoping at this point. And honestly, I want him sacked, but I want him to do well. Because I want to see Spurs do well, but I know he's not gonna do it. So until
I
he
think
proves
that's
me
what
wrong, but I know he won't. So
I think that's what most of it comes down to. We all want them to do well, but sometimes you can just see it when it ain't gonna happen.
yeah,
Brian, how we doing?
I'm doing
Brian,
good,
my
buddy. I'm
brother.
doing good. Big up, Dietrich, brother. Long time no see or speak. Yeah, today I haven't gone to the yard. Wasn't feeling well during the week, and Ilana's not well. So I thought, do you know what? I'll have a day at home and watch the game at home, and yeah, we'll see we'll see what happens with it, won't we? We'll see what happens. I thought, do you know what? I'm at home. I'll come and spend some time with you guys and everyone in the chat. Hope you're good.
What do you see happening today with Southampton then? Because he's definitely struck for choices to the point where he said, I have to play Timo Werner. I have no choice. I mean, what he did with Werner the other day, I thought that was a bit of a cheap shot. I don't think Ange's got no right to stand there and actually call out one player on that pitch when you could actually call out quite a few over the past few games. I think he was diverting a bit of the pressure off his own back with that one because he knows the fans don't like Timo Werner either. Yes, he's shit. We know it. But that's twice you've picked him for your team.
Well, do you know what, Dan? The thing I was saying about that, well, I went on We Are Tottenham TV like I do straight after the game, and I hadn't heard that snippet, or it hadn't been circulated, but seen that bit of work. So Ben and Simeon read it to me. I think it was Simeon that actually read it. And at the time, I was like, good. And not because it was Timo, but it's about time these overprotected players that don't get a grilling. And I was like, well done. Maybe it's time the carrot ain't working. Maybe it is time for the stick. But as I came off there, good friend of mine, Craig, and others were saying, do you know what? He could have picked 6 or 7 players. You won't see him do it to a Son or a Maddison or a Basuma. Or so you look at it. Why are you doing it to someone who has been a bad player? Look, we've got a dud. We've got a dud. He could easily have done it to the captain. Could easily have done it to the vice captain. Could have easily done it to Basuma. I mean, there was words with Porro on the pitch. God knows what was being said there. But the worst thing about it with Ange doing that is 2 days earlier he said, I'd never call out someone publicly. And then 2 days later, he goes and... This is a thing, like, you know how I felt about this manager. But when you start saying things and then within 48 hours you forget what you're saying and you do the very same thing yourself, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
It's really not, is it?
No. It's like me going, do you know what, guys? I'm going to London. I've said I won't step foot in that stadium. And then people are saying, come on, come into Ipswich. If I spend all my life going, yeah, I won't step foot in that stadium, then I'm in the country and go in the stadium. That's really not a good look for what I stand for and what I am. So going on and saying that I won't call the club out public, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
I mean, out of all the players he could have picked out there, we all know Werner is crap, yeah? And we've all grilled him enough as it is. We all know he is a poor player. I mean, for me, if he could just pass the ball and finish the ball, he would be a good player. He gets in better positions than a lot of our other players do. He can take on his man better than Son can now. Not what Son used to, but what Son is capable of now. He can take on his man better than Johnson. I mean, I could take on my man better than Johnson. I mean, that's all you got to do is flick him off the bloody ball. As all he does is score a goal, which means a lot. He's doing his job, but then he disappears for 90 minutes. I mean, Son has been terrible for the past few games as well. But why doesn't he turn around and say it like, well, maybe my captain needs to pull his finger out his arse and stop crying on the pitch when things aren't going well and just moping about with his head on the floor? Why did he have to specifically pick on Werner for that one?
I mean, I don't. There's not more I can say than what I just said. At the time, don't get me wrong, I still don't take back saying that you should have gone for him and well done for doing it. But if you're going to do that, then you need to be holding others accountable by the same standard.
He should have come out of about 3 or 4 players, shouldn't he? Instead of just focusing just on him.
Easy. 3 or 4 would be him going light on some players, in my honest opinion. At the moment, the only ones I can say, after the Rangers games, the only ones I could say that deserved not getting that treatment was Forster Gray, and Radu. They're the only ones that should have got away with it. And isn't it amazing? That's the backup goalkeeper, Drago, who is the backup if Van der Ven and Romero, and Gray, who's a midfielder playing in defence.
Yeah. I mean, that looks like who our defence is going to be today, doesn't it? Go on, Dietrich, you're going to say something?
No, I just wanted to say, like, even the way he... Do you know, have you guys seen the comments he said about Spence? that like
No.
it doesn't matter the situation, he's not gonna play him. He said something along those lines. And I'm like, Spence was the only one that came over you and tried to defend you against the fans when the fans were calling you as see you next Tuesday. And
Yeah, he was.
and he was there, but then you don't want to give him a chance. Like, I just don't like the unfair treatment. For me, like, everyone has to be accountable. It doesn't matter how much of a superstar you are, you have to be held accountable. Porro's not playing well. What's his name? The whole front line is not playing well. Your captain is not playing well. So why do you aim it on Spence and Werner? Like, wasn't he the same person that says he wants to play football like the right way and he only cares about ethical football? But then you want to but then you want to play those games and be like political, like just defend the ones you care and the other ones you're gonna throw them under the bus. I don't agree with it.
Well,
I
Dan,
mean,
I tuned in just as you were talking about how long it is till the lineup comes out. This is going to be intriguing, isn't it? It's really going to be intriguing.
well, I think we can pretty much you can guess that back line. I mean, for me, Forster, I've got to put my hands up to it, and I got that one totally wrong. I've done a show on like,
Same.
oh, we're fucked, mate. We're
Same.
up shit street if it's just Forster in goal.
Same.
And then obviously I had a couple of comments just lately. Oh, that was just hate and biased and whatever. What? So just because I think a goalkeeper's like not good, I obviously hate him, don't I? Hate is not a word I use in my dictionary. I don't get rattled enough for anyone to be in my head enough to have that sort of emotion off of me. I just don't rate him as a goalkeeper very highly. And to me, I think he's been more stable than.
Mate, he's been our man of the match in every single game.
Yeah, he's been more stable than any other player we've had.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Dan. This is why, as well, I always will fight your corner and always sit, because you're one of the fans as well. And I keep saying this: people may disagree with you, like they disagree with me a lot. But the thing is, whenever there is something, like if someone says, "Do you know what? Look at it this way or look at it that way," you will always acknowledge and go, "Do you know what? I've actually called this wrong and fair play. This deserves credit." Or when you've championed someone and it hasn't worked out, and you say, "Do you know what? I may have got," and that's what it's about, mate. That's what it's about. Listen, I was like you. I was like, as soon as Vicario was out, as Foster was like, "Oh, here we go." Here we go. And the only reason I was like that, because I was at the Fulham game when we went out on penalties in the Carabao Cup last season, and watching him get down for penalties was a nightmare. But listen, mate. I even said I did the watch log at for the Galatasaray game, and I even said, even though he was at fault for a couple of the goals, that 3-2 could have been 6 or 7-2 if it weren't for Fraser. Yes, he was at fault for some of the goals. Yes, he's passing from the back. But it could have been worse at Galatasaray. And in the games that he's played in the league, been up, mate, fair play. Do you know what? Fair play to Fraser Forster.
Well done to the man.
Completely.
He's been a good goalkeeper. He has been pretty solid for us. I mean, to an extent, dare I say it, I think overall, he's looked a bit more solid than Vicario did. I'm not saying he's a better goalkeeper, whatever, but I think he's actually looked a little bit more solid than him in certain situations. Like with a free kick, a dead ball situation coming in, I actually feel a bit safer with Forster than I do with Vicario. Obviously, if it comes to shot stopping, whatever else and that, I know Vicario is the better keeper. No one has to tell me that. But the other thing I seem to like about Forster as well is he has got the attitude of when in doubt, just kick it out. I don't care what my manager thinks, just clear the bloody ball. And that is when I say a player should be using his own mentality. And it might look all better playing it out from the back, like the manager tells you and that, but sometimes you just got to boot that thing, get rid of it.
Just on the ball, he scares me every time he gets the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
Like I always get a heart attack. Vicario was like a bit more confident, but he's horrendous on the ball. But I have to give him props.
Well, you say that, Dietrich. Yes, he is not the greatest on the ball, but look at that pass he did to Werner. That Werner can control, went out for a throw-in, mate. That from his hands to it, mate. That was one of the best passes I've seen by a Spurs goalkeeper in goddamn. Yeah, obviously it's a one-off. He's not doing that all the time. But that ball, mate, to see that pass and play as a kid. Listen, the one thing I will always say, I think Jordan Pickford's distribution is absolutely incredible.
I think he's an underrated keeper myself. I don't think he's a bad keeper, Pickford, at all. I'm not saying he's quality, but I think he's better than people give him credit.
Yeah. I see where you're at, but I think his distribution is absolutely exceptional. Exceptional. But that pass from Forster was immense. But when he's trying to play it out from the back, I completely agree with you, Dietrich.
No, but that's the issue. Like, you know that's his biggest weakness. So why do you force upon him to do the same things? You know he's not the best at playing at the back, but if we're, for example, against Rangers where we were struggling, they were like non-stop attacking us. How about you just kick it long every time? And it's not like we had the players to play out from the back. Because when we have Romero and Van de Ven, you're able to do that. But when you have Archie Gray, that's not a centre back, and Radu, that's not the best on the ball, just kick it long. But he never wants to change his ways. And that's why we're not winning games.
On that back line, well, quickly, just want to say a big thanks to Tony, becoming a member. Much appreciated, mate. You're always on here to say your bit, and you always say it how it is. Well, that back line, I think, is going to be quite easy to read out. I mean, I think everyone's pretty sure it's going to be Porro, Dragusin, Archie Gray, and Udogie. I mean, the fact that we have to even play Archie Gray in the middle just about sums up the whole thing for me. He's played on the right, he's played on the left, he's played centre-back, but the poor boy still hasn't played once in position that he plays for.
I'm not even joking with saying that Southampton have a better backline than us for this game. I'm not even joking with saying that.
The sad thing is, I mean, we're all saying it. Spence hasn't been playing because no manager trusts him. That's the pure. We all listen. He's come on attacking wise. He's very, very good. Defensively, he's not the best. But for me, like I've been saying all season, all that matters for me is the cups. And if he doesn't play Spence today and give either Destiny or Porro, preferably, I don't know which one to say. Preferably right now, they both need a rest. Probably Porro.
I think Porro looks more knackered at the minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. And if we don't play Spence today, and we're there, you can see against Rangers, they're absolutely knackered. And Southampton, who always seem to find and churn out incredible youth, boy, have they got a talent on their hands in Diblin. My God. So I'm just hoping there's a change at fullback. I really, really do.
Diblin is the next Jack Grealish. I'll say right now.
Oh, mate. Southampton
he's the next Jack Grealish.
Southampton keep doing this. They've had a little bit of a lull, but they'll come up with another crop that will come through and go to the big clubs, and Diblin is definitely one of them.
You see how sad it is that Southampton are able to have youngsters like that, then we struggle to buy the right youngsters. Odegaard has not been playing, Bergvall doesn't play, Gray is playing out of position. How pathetic it is.
I pray Bergvall starts today. I pray.
But we know he's not. I wish I would play him and Maddison in midfield.
Oh, mate, we're going to have to disagree on one thing. I don't even want Maddison in the stadium, let alone on the starting lineup.
Why?
Because when the stuff gets going, Maddison goes hiding.
Just like every player.
Mate, but the thing is, mate, you've put him as not you personally. He's meant to be he's meant to be part of the leadership team. He's meant to be the creative spark. Whether we're playing him deeper than he should do or whatever, your James guy have an impact in the game. I think people have got too excited about Maddison when we brought him in. I wanted Eze, and people will know, and Dan will vouch for it. I have wanted Morgan. I'd have Morgan Gibbs-White over Maddison every single day of the week. Every single day of the week, for his work rate, for his desire, for his passion, for his fight, for other things. I don't want. I want a midfielder, Saar, Bergvall, Kulusevski. I don't want Maddison anywhere near this pitch. Honestly,
that's a dangerous call to make, I think, Brian.
That's a danger. I don't agree with it.
Well, I tell you what, if he starts, one of you and me, Dietrich, are going to be right, and I'm pretty confident it will be me.
No, if you tell me right now, we play Madison, Bergvall, and fuck that shit. Sarr in midfield, and then play Kulu on the right. I'll be happy.
I don't. Madison again at Rangers, shocking. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people, Madison. We're talking about the Timo Werner thing. Madison is one of them that should get a grilling. All right, he turned up against Manchester City. Like I said, when the big games are there, and it's the big matches and the big moments, and we're allowed to play football, Madison wants the ball and running all over the place. But as soon as there's a fight, and believe me, Southampton are going to fight.
They're going to be physical, aren't they?
Yeah, Madison will spend more time on the floor.
Madison's going to be worried about the darts starting tonight as well, so I don't think his mind's going to be on the football.
Oh, you see, you brought some logic to the table, not just rage. You brought some logic. How are you, buddy?
How are you,
yeah, I'm good, thank you. I was just thinking as well, as you were saying about wanting to sign Eze. I remember you saying at the start of the season about Gyökeres as well, and I think you're being proven right there. What a signing he would have been.
No, we have Solanke. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, innit? I mean, I've just been asked here.
But sorry, God.
I mean, Lapis has just said, Dan, can you tell me what Udogie offers? He struggles defensively. Bite my own bloody tongue off. I've never seen him put out a decent cross. All he does is travel with a ball up to the opposition 18-yard box and pass it back. I can see where you're coming from, but it's basically down, for me, it's basically a lot of it is down to the way he has to play. When I watched him play in Italy, different player. They played him as overlapping wing back, and he used to defending was never his strongest point. I think he's a better defender than Porro to an extent. Can I even say that? I think they're both poor defenders, if I'm going to be honest. I think they're both poor. But
would you say that he looks a bit miserable as well? Like he doesn't really look happy lately.
What player does?
Yeah, I know that, but it just looks like he's. I don't know. It looks like there's something missing mentally with him as well.
Like he's just had enough, basically. But either way, what I'm saying is, play him as an overlapping wing back, you will see significantly more out of the man because that is how he plays at his best. We're playing him a way where it is not his style.
This is the thing. Sorry, I'm saying one sentence for you. Yeah. This is what this club does. We hire, we buy them as wing backs for wing back managers. Then we sack the wing back managers and hire managers that play a back four. Then they play a back four, and then they get the sack. And then we'll go. This is what we do. There's no logic behind anything Tottenham Hotspur do because we've got a team that play a back five. Okay, let's get a manager in that plays a back four. Oh, we've got a manager that plays defensive. Oh, let's get a manager that plays attacking. It's what we do. It's what we do as a football club. Sorry, Dietrich.
No, I was just saying, like, for me, my issue with Udogie, he doesn't thrive at anything. That's his problem. He always has lapse of concentration, and he always does something stupid, like the passing from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I tell you right now, name me one quality he has, nobody can tell me something. He can't pass, he can't cross, he can't shoot, he can't do anything. But when I see Pro, I know he struggles defensively in the back four. At least he's good at something, which is passing and shooting. And he scores a lot of goals for a fullback. But Udogie, for me, that's the difference between a good player and an average player. And unfortunately, Udogie is an average player. There's so many better left backs in the league than him.
There is. I mean, the way I saw him play in Italy, I thought there was definitely potential that he comes over here and makes a name for himself. And he started off pretty good, I think. And then as from there, it's just all gone downhill, basically. But I think you refer to that, you can refer to the whole team. I think there's only about one player, maybe two, I can look on that whole pitch that I can say has improved. One would be Kulusevski, and that is purely because you're playing him more as a centre player now. Just something I've been saying for a long time. And Johnson has improved because he's actually tapping in more goals now. But apart from that, I don't think Porro's improved now. I think he was better. I think he was better, but he's now reclining. He's now coming back on himself. Van der Ven just does not look class anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Romero just looks like he couldn't give a shit. The Doji just looks battered and busted. Sarr, don't know whether he's coming or going. Basuma, one of the most erratic ones you can get at times, has a good game, has a poor two games. And the list goes on. I mean, can anyone that...
Yeah.
After last week, definitely.
But you know why they're regressing?
Unforgivable.
And the reason they're regressing is people like Porro don't get rested, don't get rotated. It's like you fit, you play. How many times, Dan, have you heard me say overplayed and undervalued? How many times have you heard me say that saying? You look at it, back in peak Poch, and we can all go back to Trippier and Walker, heavily rotated because they knew the work that was coming, or Davies and Rose. And you know what? It didn't matter which. Obviously, Rose and Walker were the main ones, but sometimes there'd be Walker and Davies or Trippier and Rose or whatever combination, but they were kept fit, they were kept fresh because it was a massive part of his game. Fullbacks is a massive, massive part of Ange Postecoglou's game. Whether you like the inverted winger fullbacks or whatever you want to do with them, there's destiny on the left, or there's Porro, who he runs ragged with Spencer, he won't play, and a centre midfielder that he will now play there. So this is what Tottenham does. Ange has got. Listen, I will say people know where I am with Ange. I am on the edge, and it's very hard. It'll be the first manager. If we lose today, I'll still be on the edge. We go out to Manchester United, I'm fully bang the other way, because like I said, I only care about the cups this year. That's all I care about. And if we go out the Carabao Cup, then that'll be the end of it for me. I will be joining the ranks. I will actually have no option but to turn on. It's just I've tried, but we'll see.
And just to add a point quickly.
Go on, Dietrich.
That's just quickly. It's going to be quick. Another problem we had is, do you remember when Udogie was playing well the first 10 games? Do you know what we do? We give him a better contract. So usually you give a better contract at the end of the season when they show they can be consistent for 38 games. But we decided after 10 games, you know what? Let's improve his contract. Let's improve his salary. That's not how football works. For me, we reward mediocrity, and that's why Udogie's
okay, do you want the lineup?
That's what I'm just looking for at the moment.
I've got it right here. I've got it right here.
Still hasn't come up on Sky. Go on then.
I have it.
Fraser Forster in goal. At right back, Ed Spence. In centre of the rest of the defence, Gray, Dragusin, Udogie. Midfield.
I told you.
Bergvall, Madders. Up front, Kulusevski, Solanke, Son.
I told you, Brian. I told you he's going to play that midfield. I told you.
Okay, so we'll play it and we'll see what Madders does. If Madders does well, I'll say well for Madders, but I don't think I will be.
If I'm wrong, I'll come out. No, I'll just make one bet. If Spence doesn't play well this game, I'll come on your Madders and Spence. I'll say both. If they don't play well, I'm going to come on your shows and wear Arsenal shirt.
Oh, dirty.
Don't mate. I'll never ever bet where someone says they're wearing an Arsenal shirt. Don't do that to yourself.
Okay, West Ham shirt.
No. You don't ever put on another team shirt. You do something stupid, just don't. I will never take a bet with someone where they say they're wearing an Arsenal shirt.
Okay, which bet?
You won't get me wearing a West Ham, Arsenal, or Chelsea shirt. Never in a million years.
Okay, I'll come to the Scotland Yard. Fine. Or if I lose, I'll come to the Scotland Yard. And if you lose, you come into Ottawa.
Well, I plan to anyway. But you need to get your ass down to the yard. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right, Dave, with that team come out now, what do you think that's capable of pulling off today? Can we do Southampton today with that team that he's just named?
Well, a bit like Brian, you should be careful when it comes to edging. You should be careful when it comes to pulling off as well. So be careful. To be fair, I'm a little bit surprised with that team. It'll be interesting to see if there's an actual injury that's forced him to pick. Obviously, let's say Jed Spence, Bergvall are the two surprises. They're the rest.
I'm surprised he has actually started Spence.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he's gone right. I'm resting Porro because obviously you guys were literally just talking about overusing our fullbacks there. So it'd be interesting to see if he has rotated or if Porro's picked up a little knock. And Bergvall, we've had, so it is a change then. And Bergvall, obviously, we've had many discussions, and I've heard many discussions in the past. It's like, what's the point in signing him if we're not going to play him? So he's now got his chance to play. And touching on the Madders one there, it's actually a perfect game for Maddison. I've got no worries when it comes to him playing against a poor defensive side like Southampton. He'll do just fine in these kind of games. It's the other games when the going gets tough that he goes disappearing in. So I've got no concerns about that. It's a bit of an interesting team, so fair play for making a couple of changes. But as I said to you the other day, Dan, we could as easily lose 1-0 today and give Southampton one of their first clean sheets as we can go and whop them 6-1. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet on both of them scores, as you've probably just seen. But you never know what you're going to get with Spurs. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. That's what I was saying at the start, mate. You just do not know. We can play against the best team on the planet and actually give them a run for their money, or we could go against the worst team in the planet and get totally outscored. I've never, ever been in this situation with Spurs where I honestly have not got a clue where it's going to go. Now, I've been in a situation many a time where I'm like, yeah, you just don't know who's going to turn up, but I think we get that one today. I just can't say whether we win or lose it. I just don't know.
Let me read the bench to you. Let me read the bench to you, Dan. It's concerning, but obviously injuries are right. So there's Austin in goal, Porro, Alfie Dorrington, King, who knows, Ledley might have dusted off, Hardy, Aloisi, Timo Werner, Brenner Johnson, Will Lancashire. So
to be fair, Ledley King at his age now would probably do a better job than half our defenders.
Exactly. So the bench, that bench is obviously packed full of youngsters.
Like you said, he's had to rob the school
through lack of recruitment and injuries. You've got to bring this into the equation as well. So that team, you look at it. There's the real first teamers there on the bench are Porro, Werner, and Johnson. So what will be now. What will be.
Yeah, I mean we got 8 players out, haven't we? So 1, 2, 3, probably 4 of them are first choice. So
yeah. I mean, the only thing that's really gone into that one that I weren't too sure of was Spencer's right back. I thought he was still going to play with Porro there personally, and with what he was saying, I was contemplating whether Werner was going to start. But I mean, Dave, I haven't asked you yet. Seeing as we asked the others, I know it's going back on it a little bit. Would that call out he made on Timo Werner? Do you think that was right for him to do that, or do you think he was just taking the pressure off his own back and aiming it at a cheap shot to a player that he knows is not liked at Tottenham because he is shit?
In isolation, I haven't got a problem with it. I don't mind him calling out the players. In fact, don't stop at Werner. You could call out of several other players. My issue with it was the fact that 2 days before he says, you won't hear me calling out players in public. That's what I disagree with. He's made a rod for his own back there and he's gone against his words. But I don't disagree with it in theory and isolation, if that makes sense. Werner does deserve to be called out because his performance was atrocious. But don't just stop there. Call out a lot of the others as well. Yeah,
I mean, for me, if he was going to... I've got nothing wrong with people calling players out. I think players should get it just as hard as the manager and everyone else when they've been shit. I mean, if you can't handle that, if you want everyone to blow sunshine up your ass when you're doing well and you want me to praise you off the pitch, then when you're playing shit, I'm also going to grill you off the pitch as well in front of everybody. That is the way I see it.
I don't think that's a problem in football. I think that's a problem in society these days. I think that's just where we are as a nation. And as a world,
I mean that one's totally true as well. People just seem to love the sunshine, don't they? But
I mean, at the end of the day, what's he done? He said some words about his performance levels. So what?
Exactly.
Get over.
I mean, what's he going to do? Have a breakdown now? I mean, but shouldn't he have also called out Son in other games then? His captain. The reason I keep bringing up Son is because he's the captain, and I think Son has been absolutely shocking over the past 4 or 5 games, and he's meant to be the captain. And out of a lot of players I see on there, he's the one actually moping about with his face in the floor the most in a couple of games. He's meant to be the captain.
Yeah, that's my point with it. It's like I don't have a problem with you calling out Werner. Obviously, as I said about, he contradicted himself by saying he would never do that. But taking it in isolation, I've got no problem with having to go at Werner. But you don't stop at Werner because there's several players in that squad. Because I'm sorry, but they're absolute shithouses, some of our players. They sit there and, that people talk about, we've got the best training ground in the world. I'm sorry, but they turn up like it's a health spa. every day. They don't train hard. They don't sit there and put the work in on a Saturday at 3:00. I know we very rarely play at Saturday at 3:00, but they don't. They're absolute shithouses, some of our players. They pick and choose when they want to play football. And I'm sorry, but we have to suffer through this. And it's not just an Ange thing. It's happened under several managers now. When the going gets tough, our players go running. We haven't got like that backbone in that squad. And we haven't done for years. So it's not just these players individually. We've had historically an issue with not having a backbone. I think the only time I can remember having one in the last, I'm 39 this month. That's actually just depressed me. I'm 39 this month. But I can only ever remember under the Poch years us actually having a physically and technically gifted squad. Where you'd know that we'd go there and sit there, dig out a 1-0 win if we need to, playing a bit ugly if we needed to. We haven't got that grit and determination in our squad now. Everything going well, the weather's nice, the fans are cheering their names, we play well. But as soon as the going gets tough, boom, we go running and hiding.
The manager does it as well, doesn't he? When it's all going right for the manager, he seems to get the decisions right most of the time, and he seems to be looking interested. But as soon as the shit hits the fan, the players just disappear basically, but then the manager might as well evaporate as well because he's fucking used to standing on the side looking at the floor with his hands in his pocket.
Yeah. To be fair to Ange, right?
At Spurs.
To be fair to Ange, and listen, he deserves criticism for a lot of the stuff he's done. I'm not sitting there covering that up. What I will say is he's finally realised what it's like to manage Tottenham. It's really hit home how hard it is to manage this club. And he's frustrated with it. And that's why you're seeing him snap at people like Werner and that. He's losing his cool. He's realised how tough this club is to manage. And it's a systemic problem that comes all the way from the top. And obviously, I know we don't want to go into that debate because it's a boring one that nothing will ever change. But we know the real cause of this. We don't sit there, reward success. We don't sit there, encourage success in this club. We reward mediocrity. And it's a bit like the Udogie contract that Dietrich was saying, people when they haven't actually achieved anything. It just runs through the club. True. I mean, Levy pays himself a bonus for being successful, but the club hasn't been successful. He pays himself for making money, which, to be fair, as a chairman of a football club, part of your job is to make money. So I'll give him that. But he doesn't reward himself for footballing success, does he? Because if he did, he'd be paying money back to the club.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be in debt a hell of a lot in that aspect, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, but look, the fact that we've got no backbone on that pitch and the way certain players are playing and that, shouldn't an Ange thinking that he could basically come here and walk into it? This is where I do honestly believe that he underestimated the Premiership. I think he came in thinking his bollocks were too big and thought he could come in and just walk the walk, basically, without a problem in the world, because he'd done it in 3 other leagues that are just pretty much, to me, they're irrelevant. Because, I mean, who even hears about the Japanese or Australian? And the Scottish League, whether people like the insult or not, the only reason the league is there is because the UK government support it, for God's sake. Otherwise, there wouldn't even be a Scottish League. So, and any 4 of us could go up to Celtic and absolutely destroy that league with Celtic. That is how I do not rate what anyone has done in Celtic. I mean, even Steven Gerrard done it up there, for God's sake. But Brian Dietrich, do you think he actually came into the Premiership thinking, I can do this. This is going to be I can do this. Do it my way, and just underestimated the Premiership totally, the Premier League?
After you, Dietrich.
No, honestly, I'll pass it on to Brian.
Okay. So listen, I think yes and no. I think yes and no. You, as a manager, as a player, you always want confidence in yourself and self-confidence and belief that you're going to do it. And I think he came in and thought, you know what? I can do a job here. I'm given the tools I'm given and blah, 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 blah. I think anyone that comes to this job thinks, oh my God, I'm at Tottenham Hotspur, I could do something here. I might be able to get players in that I never thought I could work with. Like when I say I want a player that could do this and this and this and have a player in mind, I could probably get him because I'm at Tottenham Hotspur. And then the reality hits. I'm not saying Ange didn't want all these players that got here. This is not what I'm saying, but I can guarantee you he didn't sit around in the summer and go, give me Bergvall, Gray, Werner and Odebeer and I'll win something. He blatantly wanted other players, whether this club could follow through with the targets or not, whether that's through the club or the selling club's fault. And maybe he could have done something, but I think any manager, my new thing that I'm saying is whoever comes in next, and there will be a manager, there will be other managers that come in. Whilst these owners are here, they're screwed before the ink on their contract dries. That's the realism.
It is the reality.
So it doesn't matter. Look, Jose Mourinho came here, and we all thought as soon as Jose came in, I was fuming that he came in, but I may have been fuming that he came in. But one thing I wasn't fuming about, I was like, that's it, our trophy drought's done. It's over. We're winning a trophy under Jose. Not even a question. And the same with Conte. And would you say, again, them two, when they come in, do they think they're Johnny Big Bollocks that can come in and just win the league? Well, yes, they've done it.
They know they are.
They've done it everywhere. If you look at it, the 3 of the last 4 Spurs full-time managers, full-times, I'm not talking the Masons, Stellinis, whatever, 3 of them have won everywhere they went before they came here. And the other one is Nuno, who wasn't allowed to bring his coaching staff, or sorry, his number 2, to one club and one club only. And guess what that club was? And look what he's doing with... It does not matter. We can look at this and dress it up anyway. The players aren't performing either. And believe me, the players need to take a hell of a lot more responsibility. The managers that have paid, it doesn't matter. It's all doomed. So the answer to your question, do I think Ange came in thinking, yeah, I'm gonna dominate. I don't think he thought he was ever gonna. He says he's gonna win the league, but you can't come to England and just say that. You can't do that unless you're one of the big ones that will spend hundreds, and I do mean hundreds of millions.
It's true. No, you're right. You're right.
No one could say that unless you're a Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, or what. Those that you know, and remember, the ones we talk about that say they can do it are teams that have won the Premier League multiple times, whether it be an Arsenal or a Liverpool one time, Chelsea, Man City, Man U, because you know they have a culture of winning. They have a culture. They don't just demand success. Sorry, they don't just crave success. They demand it. And at this club, and that I'm talking about as a club, not the fans. Those clubs. I keep saying this with Roman Abramovich at Chelsea and whatever. Every single manager that was at Chelsea can never say once they weren't back with the players they wanted. Not versions of the players they wanted, players they wanted. And every single chairman said, "Listen, I'm going to back you. I'm going to get in what you want. But if you do not win,
I will sack your ass." It's true. No, that one, mate, I agree with. But what I'm basically saying, do you think he underestimated the Premier League?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think he underestimated what this board will do to him. I think he underestimated how powerful the league is. I think he underestimated how good, or overestimated how good he was because of his success. And do you know what? He could act Johnny Big Bollocks because on his CV, yes, they're lesser leagues, but he's got champion.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you walk into this, he goes, "Listen, I'm a champion." None of our players can, apart from people on domestic duty that could have gone, "I'm a world champion." No one else could say anything.
Very true. I mean, Dietrich, what do you reckon? Do you reckon he came in here and underestimated the league?
Well, if you play 2 inverted fullbacks, play a high line, and thinking you can win down a number 6, something that hasn't been done before, and history shows you it never been done, then yes, you did underestimate the league. Because that style of football has never been done in the past. And by buying youngsters, thinking it's a project, and thinking you can you don't have to buy leaders on the team. He honestly thought he was still in Scotland or in Japan.
That is one of the things that got me. Where he says he don't buy leaders, he wants to make leaders.
Yeah, he don't buy leaders.
He said a lot of bullshit. We know that, yeah, and he said a lot of stuff where you just go on. I'll let finish.
Yeah, and last thing, and thinking that you score 3, we score 4 goals, like type of football. That's something that it just doesn't exist in the Premier League. And we have way too many teams that anyone can beat each other. Like, for example, today we can lose to Southampton. Nobody's confident. But if you were Celtic, you know you would beat every team. The only ones that you don't know is Rangers and Aberdeen.
Yeah, I mean, the rest, I mean, most of the people can't even name the full Scottish League anyway. So that just about says it all for me. So if we're going to be honest. And yeah, with one of them two up there, well, Celtic definitely, you're going to win it hands down. I think, like I said, you put any one of us four up there and we bloody win it. That is how low I rate that league. I'm not saying it's never had good players that come out of it, but the league itself is just meh. It's neither here nor there to me. And when it's ranked lower than the MLS, that just about tells you everything. But I definitely do believe that he underestimated what he got in for. But then that should have shown him at the end of last season, right, I did underestimate this league. These ways haven't particularly worked. We've been regressing since the first 10, 12 games. Maybe I should adapt now. Maybe there is something I need to change. Maybe some of these players just aren't clicking to my way of football. What do I need to do? And then he still goes out and makes statements like it's about entertainment. Still goes out and makes statements. I'm not gonna, what was the phrase he used? He's not gonna use defensive football. I'm not gonna change my way for nobody. I mean, surely that's just walking the plank, basically, and he's going to fall off into the water, isn't he?
For me, the stupidest statement was, I don't remember exactly what he said, but when it was something along the lines where we don't deserve to win, so I didn't make subs. It was something stupid like that.
I mean, honestly, what dickhead goes and says that? And I do mean dickhead. Seriously, who goes and says that?
But you see, that's my point. That's why he underestimated the league. Like, who the fuck says that?
You know what annoys me the most when we're talking about changing the game, Dan? It's not even the fact that he starts every game the same. If you want to try this and if it works, wonderful. It's that when you see it's not working within the game. When you see, you can say, right, listen, we're going to play my way. We're going to do it. We're going to go this way. This is what I want from you. But when you clearly see it's not working and we're under the cosh, to then not go, right, I'm reading this game and there's something missing, I need to either change the tactic or change it for 5-10 minutes, soak up the problem, whatever. That's the bit that I struggle with. I love a guy that's got a philosophy and goes, right, I want to attack. It's great. It's what we wanted to see. But when attack doesn't work, don't just say, okay, well, this team can't do this for that long. We're going to keep doing and keep going. It'll work. We've been how long do you say keep going with it not working? Before you're like, right, I need to try something.
That's what a good manager does.
Yeah, and obviously with these injuries, he's never got the same team out. This team are like, okay, I haven't played with you here and that there and this there. So how? We'll see what happens today. I thought Man U just equalised. How they missed that, Fernandez?
I just say that myself.
I thought that was in the back. As soon as he left his foot, I was like back of the net, and it was like, oh no, it's not.
Especially because I got them both teams to score on the coupon.
Oh, right. How much money you got on that?
Oh, it's only 50 quid if it comes in, but it's 50 quid that I haven't got. So come on.
50 quid's 50 quid at the end of the day. It goes towards Christmas presents, doesn't it, these days at the minute? But
that's the beauty of being single. Christmas is cheap.
Does anyone here actually see this man surviving at this club, or is it just a matter of time?
He will survive, and
it is a matter of time.
The reason he'll survive is because Levy, believe it or not, is probably trying to sell the club, hence him stripping down the wage bill as much as possible. He won't want to pay out compensation if he can avoid it. Don't get me wrong, if it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, he'll eventually do it, but he's hoping he doesn't have to do it, so he doesn't pay compensation, and probably compensation to go get a new manager in. Although Gary O'Neill's just been sacked, it wouldn't surprise me if we got him for free.
There's more chance of me becoming the president than Levy selling the club. It's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what, mate. You run against Trudeau, I'm voting for you.
Just to answer the question quick on the side here with Kulu, is this a new channel or have I just missed it? You've just missed it, mate. It's been about for a long time when Tom used to run it. Then I took it over because he just blatantly had enough of talking about Spurs, which I really can't blame him. It's enough to depress anybody at times. And then I took the channel over and it just rolls as it rolls, mate. I'm quite irregular when I do stuff. But
yeah, be sure to join me and Mr. Box Office Alex for our dating tips show later on.
Mate, all I can say, your question, Dan, whether is it just a matter. I'm looking at this in so many different ways right now. I think he's personally still staying there right now because Levy knows what will happen if he sacks him. I personally think he knows if he sacks him, all hell will break loose.
He's in a bit of a situation at the minute, Levy, isn't he? Where he's a bit fucked if he does and fucked if he doesn't, doesn't he?
Which he's at
the minute.
Exactly, which he's allowed. I have been one of the strongest Ange supporters without going OTT, and even I think it's a matter of when, not if. I honestly, I mean, the worst thing as well is, do you remember back in the old day, the dreaded vote of confidence? Well, something, I don't know if you've seen this already. I'm just going to read this out. A tweet came out today. Where is it? Where is it? Is it this one? Let me just find out. I'm just bringing it up. Yep. Does this is from David Ornstein. The pressure is external for Postecoglou. Ange Postecoglou is squarely being backed by the Tottenham hierarchy. Every bit of dialogue I have had so far is that he is being supported, and they are not thinking of changing Postecoglou. Now, does that sound like the olden day dreaded vote of confidence? Because
I heard that a million times.
It does to me. To me, I mean, I'm asking old school people. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to this. To me, that does sound like the dreaded olden day vote of confidence. But the thing is, if you are saying January, you need to. But then there's people saying don't spend in January. I mean, Dave, what do you reckon? Old school? Do you reckon that sounds a bit old school? Vote of confidence.
Well,
I'm saying it is how I'm reading it.
I'm smiling because the Wolves chairman 3 days ago and came out and gave Gary O'Neill the vote of confidence, and he was sacked. So yeah, it's just one of those, and take it with a pinch of salt. It means nothing. If the board are saying that, it's usually a sign that he's getting close to the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I read it.
I've started reading a couple of things that have started to come up. I mean, surely Levy. I mean, look, we all know how this prick works, and I very much doubt he's changed his religion, his beliefs, whatever you want to call it, like whether he's an atheist, whatever. I don't really care. But either way, whatever it is, I don't think he's changed it. I still think he has dinner with the devil, whatever you want to call it, yeah? Whatever you want to label the man as. And I don't see him changing his ways. Now, David. Now. I just don't see him changing his ways for this manager. I mean, all right. I mean, I'll say it blunt as it is. Ange sucks him off better than any manager has ever have done. But when it comes down to the crunch, I just don't see Levy changing his ways for Mr. Ange Postecoglou. I just don't see it.
Well, also what you got to remember as well, which is going to be a very key factor, come the Liverpool game, depending where we are this game coming up and the Carrow Cup, if the plans go big with what's being planned for the protests and the balloons that go, and Levy out is very loudly saying a lot of the time, then Ange pays. Ange will pay. Whether you like him, whether you want him to stay or not, because Daniel Levy is a coward. So remember, in the fans forum said, "Oh, all the protest nonsense, it didn't get to me. I've got a thick skin." Yet the man with a thick skin cranks the volume up to an ungodly level at half-time and full-time to drown any noise out, and won't listen to fans, and pays for the manager, pays for jobs when the scrutiny's on him. So there's a lot of people saying that they see that as a vote of confidence. I really do think it's the dreaded vote of confidence.
It does look that way.
I don't think he's here by the end of the window. That's what I've been saying for a while. I think come the end of the transfer window, there will be a new. Whether I want that to happen or not, that's not what I'm saying. I just think with knowing this club as I do, I think there'll be a new manager by the time we come into February.
Mate,
you'd want to be decisive.
If he don't adapt, he will be gone in January. And I've said earlier why my belief is it will be January that he gets rid of him. because that will be Levy's way of getting out of having to spend money in January. Apart from
we'll just recall the loan players.
And with what I've read quite a bit, few little bits on, I mean, it's saying that Spurs are already looking for managers and stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me. It would surprise me if they're not looking for a new manager, because in a business, you've got to be 2 steps ahead of yourself as such. So surely he's already out having a look just in case this keeps going the way it does. And the one that seems to have come up on a few pages that I've looked at is the one that you mentioned to me a good few months ago, Dave, is the Ipswich manager.
Yeah, I still think it's too soon for him, but I think further down the line he's an option. But going back to whether we should or we shouldn't, I think the club needs to be decisive. So either back him in January, give him some money to buy some players, or sack him now and give a new manager. The thing Spurs will probably do is sack him in February when it's too late to buy players. And that's the kind of mess we get ourselves into. That's what I can see happening more likely than us sacking him now, giving a new manager funds to buy. But going back to Kieran McKenna, I like him. He's a manager I think we've got to keep an eye on. I think it's too soon for him to take a club in the mess that we're in. I think it's too soon for that. My one would be, if it was tomorrow, would be Thomas Frank. I think he's an obvious one. And I like him because he doesn't play one style of football. He adapts to what he's got in front of him. And I think with better players at his disposal, he could do a good job. I also like him as a person. I know that doesn't really mean too much when it comes to football. It's all about results. But I think he's actually a genuinely decent human being, someone you could get behind. And I think he's done a great job at Brentford. It wasn't an easy one to come into because if I remember rightly, he came in when they was being successful. And I think that sometimes, a bit like what Slot's doing at Liverpool, it's quite hard to come in when a club's doing well. Most of the time, managers come in when a club's doing bad, right? So it's generally easier to get improvements with them. But yeah, no, Thomas Frank's one, or we go for a sort of a more unknown European one. But if you're asking me, I don't see us sacking him. I think if we do sack him, we'll probably sack him later on in the season when it's too late to do anything. But I don't see us doing that anyway. I don't think Levy's got the appetite to spend compensation, both sacking him and getting a new manager in.
Yeah, I like Kieran McKenna as well. Remember, Kieran McKenna was touted for Man U, and he said no. Yeah. Would you? And I'm being serious here. He is a god at Ipswich, a god. 2 successive promotions. Got his club into the Premier League, is learning his craft, gaining the experience. Ipswich, I like what they're doing. He's unearthed the talent in Delap. He's got a couple of players there. I'm not just saying this. I know McKenna's got roots to Spurs. If I was McKenna, I wouldn't come anywhere near Spurs. Why do you want to go there? Yes, it's I've got the bigger club. I might be playing in Europe. I might be. Go look at the life.
It could destroy your whole career, basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I like I said, I've seen a lot of people. I wanted Frank before Postecoglou, but if I look at it seriously, if I was Thomas Frank, where your board adore you and will back you and have openly done so and tried to, their owners are fantastic. What they do in the community, what they do as a club, move them into a new stadium as well. Obviously, not the size, but the players worship him. The fans love him. He's got full control of that club. And if he says jump, the club will say how high and try to... Do you want to say it? I don't know what Vindaloo keeps wanting me to say. He keeps saying, say it, Brian, say it.
I know, I've noticed that on the side as well. He's been
saying that on a few streams. I've got no idea what he's trying to get me to say. And listen, I think Thomas Frank is... As much as I want Thomas Frank to come, I don't want him to come just as much because we're screwing. And I think he's a wonderful football manager. I think he's brilliant.
Look, with just a point I want to make out on here quick. Hang on a sec, Dietrich, I'll come to you, mate. With John here, tired of fans thinking they can manage better than those employed. Well, then go to bed. Don't like it when we have a defence manager or an attack one. Yes, I don't want a defence out-and-out defence. I don't want an out-and-out attack. I want a manager that can adapt and play to what he has to adapt, to play with the cards he's got. Because there is not many games where you can just go all-out attack or all-out defence. There has to be a time where you can basically split the game up and know when to attack and when to defend instead of just playing out-and-out fucking kamikaze football 24/7. And the fact of people having their own opinion to it, that's your opinion, mate. Fair enough. But when you can get a majority of the fans sitting there and actually spotting the problems on the pitch, and everyone saying the same problem on the pitch, and then the manager changes it for a game, or the style of game changes it for the game as such, and we look a lot better without playing inverted wing backs, and we look a lot better without pushing up, and we look a lot better on a counter press, counter attack. And we've all said, a lot of us have said this for a while, and I've been saying it for well over a year now, and you see it work, and then you see the manager go back to his other way and it don't work. Yeah, people are going to question. When your manager has only had one clean sheet in the past 11, yes, we are going to question. I mean, yeah, I reckon I could have took over at Spurs and at least got better than one clean sheet, because I wouldn't have told the team to stand up the other end of the pitch 24/7. But call that an opinion, if you will. But if you're tired, mate, get some sleep.
I will say, Dave,
you're going to see a lot of channels do it. Go on, Brian.
Dave might come into a bit of money soon because United have a penalty. I'm a little bit behind, so I don't know if it's gone in or yet. But I will say with that comment,
I'm watching on the internet as well, so I'm behind. It's just about to take it.
So what I will say about that comment, and this is what gets me. I don't spend time really addressing people that come in with that comments anymore. But
no, I just reply.
But what I'm saying is, you've come into this show to watch a show. You're listening to it. You don't agree with it, but you're here to write a comment. Do you know what happens when a TV show or a movie or streams on that I don't like or agree with? Goodbye.
Go to bed.
Goodbye. I go to bed, or I watch something different, or I do whatever. I don't get why people come in and go, "Oh, here you go again," blah blah blah, or stop moaning. It's like we're on. I mean, you're ahead of me, so I'm get. You know what I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get. I don't.
I've got no problem with anyone coming on here and disagreeing with what I say and whatever else and that. We are all allowed our own opinion. If someone on the chat even gives me a better way to look at the situation, I can quite easily change my opinion.
Correct.
But mate, at the end of it, we are all allowed our opinions, and you will hear us say good things about the club, bad things about the club. But at the moment, whether you like it or not, you're going to hear a lot more bad than there is good, because even off the good channels as such, you're not hearing much good off of them either at the minute, mate, because there's not exactly much good to look at the moment, except we keep breaking records that we don't want to break. And can you blame anyone for sitting there questioning the way he plays, or maybe I would do it like this, or I would do it like that? Isn't that half the fun of football? Assessing the way it's done on the pitch and how you would do it, or what you think is better. That's half the fun of it, isn't it?
But that's the thing. They attack YouTube and go, "You YouTubers," or "You people that come on camera." It's the exact point of why we're on camera, to have a discussion. What do you want us to do? Come in here and play fucking charades?
Poker would be better.
Just literally go like, yeah, exactly. I was going to go for a book, or maybe TV, Dave. I mean, what do you want? It's ridiculous when they go, "You YouTubers come on camera," and that is the whole point of YouTube.
Exactly. And that was just the only reason I replied to ones like that.
No, I'm not having a go at you for bringing it up. I'm having a go at the person.
Oh, I know that.
It's just madness. It's utter madness.
So, right, we've got kick-off in about 40 minutes, 37 minutes, it says here. Result today. Where do you think today is going to go? Any one of you? Where do you think today is going to go? How do you think we're going to play this today? How do you think they're going to play it? What is going to happen today? I know this is the team where you just ain't got a fucking clue, but try and give yourself a clue. What do you think is going to happen?
No. Oh, my God. United have just taken the lead. We're 13th in the league. We are 13th in the league.
Oh, no.
We are 13th in the league as we speak. But don't worry, be positive, people. Be positive.
That's my lucky number, 13. So
13th.
Maybe we stay 13 and Ange get the sack. That's my lucky number. So I'll count on 13 there if we stay there.
I'll tell you what, Tottenham are so good at breaking managers. We've even broken Pep Guardiola.
No, do you know what it is as well? You look at it. I saw a tweet about it 11 years ago this weekend. We sacked AVB for that 5-0 or 5-1 defeat to Liverpool when Paulinho got sent off and things weren't going bad in his second season. I can't, I'm being serious, I think we're still in the top half then. I can't remember the week before Christmas where Tottenham Hotspur, the last time in the Premier League, And this is whether, don't care what you say. I'm very much, or I have been very much Ange. I'm still Ange, but I'm on the edge. But I don't see how, when you start looking at these things, the Everton have had less defeats than us. Look what they've been doing this year. The fact that Crystal Palace have not lost as many games as Spurs this season, even though they got their first win against us, and they've just got an incredible way at Brighton, 2-0 up at half time, and managed to see it through and score another goal. And we had Van der Ven, Romero, and a fully fit squad against that Brighton team. But I might do my research because I cannot remember the last time Spurs were in the bottom half of the league the week before Christmas, or the week, whatever you want to say. It's
that was basically down to where Redknapp took over, wasn't it? The last time we was that
in
low
the
in the
relegation.
league as such.
Redknapp, we were a 2.
So I think that was the last time, wasn't it?
You might be right. Maybe it was Redknapp in 2008.
He took over after 8 games, didn't he?
Yep, 2 points. 2 points.
Pep deserves the sack. I'll say it. He deserves the sack.
So where is this game going to go today then? With what I said, go on, Dave. Where is this game going to go? What have we got to do for this?
I told you it'll be. Sorry, it'll be either 1-0 to Southampton or 4-1 to Spurs. We'll either absolutely smash them or we'll bore the hell out of ourselves and lose 1-0. It will go either way. There won't be in the middle. We won't win comfortably 2-0, for example, which is probably what we should be doing away to Southampton. We'll either smash them 4-1 or we'll lose a turgid 1-0 game.
You know what? Even if we go and smash them 4-1, I'm not going to be highly excited for this or stand here and say, I won't even say well done, Ange, to this, because this is a game I expect to win. Okay, Premiership, you shouldn't expect anything, but of a game, this is a game I highly expect us to win. So if we go and win this, I'm not going to start sitting here and clapping for Ange saying, fucking well done, fella. Great game. Good goal. Even if we win 5-1, I'm going to sit there and say, all right, he won against Southampton. I'll give you, what is it, Alex? Like, I'll give you a Blue Peter badge. Well fucking done, mate. Give me some consistency.
Southampton away was Conte's last game as well, just FYI.
I have to say, Barbaric, who just left that comment, Conte came to us after I came on YouTube. In all honesty, Conte did a Daigle. It's not Daigle doing a Conte. Conte did a Daigle. Southampton, in the last 7 Premier League games, we've been there, we've only won once. It's not a ground that we like. I feel sorry for the Spurs fans. I feel sorry for Spurs fans, away fans, the hardcore that went all the way to Glasgow on a Thursday night. They had to go all the way down to Southampton for a 7 p.m. kickoff. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again, that the lineup doesn't change. Doesn't change where I go. I don't think we win. I think we'll get a draw or defeat. That we're exhausted.
You think we'll actually get a defeat?
Listen, I can't honestly. Do you know what? I said this near the end of the Conte reign, and I've gone back to it now. Listen, people can do what they want and say what they want. I'll never ever criticize or whatever they do, but there's a lot of people that go on YouTube shows or even host YouTube shows, and no matter what, every single week, we're going to win. Yeah, we're going to win. Yeah, we're going to win. There's never a good time. This is a really good time to play this team. Yeah, Spurs are going to win. Yeah, we're going to do that. No. I refuse to do this. I would rather say draw or defeat, and then when we win, be happy, rather than say win, and when we get a draw or defeat, be pissed off.
I can understand where you're coming from now.
I can't, honestly. I know what we've normally done at Southampton. And people go, oh, they've only won 1 game. Well, yeah, we played 2 teams that hadn't won a game.
Ipswich and Palace hadn't won a game.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to bring that one up the other day.
Exactly. And Southampton will attack, and fight. Listen, Dibbling is a big concern. And a player that I said, a player that I actually liked at Sheffield United, and he isn't having a good run at Southampton, and Cameron Archer. You watch him have a worldie today. You watch him have a worldie today. It's a shame.
I feel confident.
I can't. I want to listen. I'd love to be able to say we're going to win. We're going to. Yep. United have won. We are 13th. The Man City rot doesn't even. Listen, that rot is.
But you know what? Just going on to that one a sec. I've seen a lot of people start referring Pep to Ange and everything and all that. Like, seriously, wake up and smell the fucking coffee, people. Like, okay, this is Pep's worst ever in football, yeah? This is Man City's worst in, 10 years, most probably. And I think he deserves a bit more time than other managers have had due to what he's won. Whereas maybe at Chelsea, he would have got the sack at the end of the season. But here's what's going to happen at City quickly. They've already predicted this. I think they already wrote this season off about a month ago. Pep does not come and sign another 2-year contract for the fun of it. Pep does not want to leave on something like this. You watch what will happen at the end of this season. They clear out a shitload of players. They bring in a shitload of players, have a good season next season, and then win it on his second season again. And then he will walk and say, thank you, come again, whatever else to it. And I think pretty much anyone can agree with that. But yeah, Man City at the moment, wow. I mean, just wow on how bad they're actually doing.
Mate, flip the coin on the other way now. Manchester United are rolling into this game on the back of a last-minute derby win or a 1-0 down turnaround in the last 10 minutes derby win away.
Last 2 minutes.
And yeah, so they've just had a huge confidence booster. A huge. I remember this was with Racho not even in the squad. They weren't even on the bench. They're out probably because of their actions. This manager has wielded the axe a lot and rotated players and done whatever. He's trying to wean out or find the players that are there for him and put in the shift. But yeah, we're gonna have to see now. We're gonna listen. I just hope Spurs fight. Spurs need to fight, and I hope they do so.
And we just don't see much of that in ourselves either. I mean, Dietrich, come on, man. What are we going to do for this game? Where's it going to go? What have we got to do? I mean, win it goes without saying, like, no shit, Sherlock sort of thing. But what have we actually got to do to pull this game off? I mean, it's not as though we are going into a game against Southampton and people are sitting here and people in chat and other channels are sitting here thinking, what have we got to do to win this game? What are we going to... We should be sitting here going into this game thinking, right, we're going to do this game and then start looking at the next one. Don't underestimate it, but go and take them apart. We're not. We're actually sitting here trying to work out how the fuck can we win this game. That's bad.
Look, I'm not trying to be funny, but we're losing this game. We're 100% losing.
No different from you.
No, just...
reasons.
No, the reason
what have we got
is...
to do to win it, though, mate? Come on.
No, the reason for us to win is, first of all, don't play with 2 inverted fullbacks. That's number 1. And number 2, manage the game. That's the most important thing. If we can do those 2 things, I swear we can win we can 100% win this game. But if you leave it open with Dibbling on the other team and Fernandez in midfield, they're gonna carve us open because they have, if I'm not mistaken, they're playing with 5 defenders at the back. So they're probably gonna counter us every time. So we just have to be careful and take our chances.
Well, from the way it says here on the lineups, yeah, it says they're playing a 4-5-1. That's what it says on the lineups, and we do know the lineup.
Or Southampton are.
Southampton are.
What a stupid question that was. Yeah, we're playing.
I was going to say, Brian, like, what brought that out?
I've got no idea.
No, it says
we might play a 4-1-5.
Yeah. What's the matter, Brian?
No, it says they're going to play a 5-3-2.
Yeah, what I'm looking at, it says a 4-5-1. We all know how that can... I mean, when I saw the lineups up against Rangers, it said on the channel that Johnson was playing in centre mid, and I'm thinking, what fucking dickhead done that? But either way, we know it can be erratic when they leave it just to the computer. So you just cannot see... You don't see us doing this one today, no?
No, because I have so much history that tells me that he never changes his ways. But if he finally decided to stop being an idiot and stop playing with two inverted fullbacks and play with a proper DM, then we can win this game. But if they play counter-attacking football with dribbling, they're gonna carve us open. And unfortunately, we don't have the right personnel to play to take our chances.
So what do you reckon with the score?
2-1 Southampton, and there's one goal is gonna be a set piece from Southampton.
You know what? With you saying this, mate, I said it in the last one I done. Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Southampton because I have not got a good feeling about this at all.
Well, you call yourself Spurs fans predicting a loss?
No, I might as well call myself a Spursy fan. That's what they've done to me at the moment more than anything. Honestly, the way things are going at the moment, it just fall into place with everything at the moment. It just works with the story at the minute. But let's just hope we can get something out of this one. I just hope I'm wrong. But I do see Southampton pulling this one at 2-1. As what Brian said earlier, we don't seem to like going to Southampton, same as about 5 other places out there we seem to not like going. I mean, for me, if he would just change his style of defence, just sort this defence out, the way he uses the team defensively, which he doesn't use it at all, I think that'd be call it a random number, but I think that'd be 25% of his problem sorted. I think if he would have just had the knowledge even of how to play defensive football when needed, we could have easily had another 6 to 8 points on what we've got and won games instead of drawn them or whatever, like against Roma and that. I mean, defence is surely the biggest problem here, the way he plays the defence or don't play it.
Oh, mate, you know what? It's Spurs need to come. How many times we say Spurs need to get out to a fast start and set the tone? But when we have done, we've then relinquished.
We burn ourselves out because we don't slow down.
I can't even. How can you even predict what we're going to do? I think
the thing he needs to sort out here is defence, isn't it? For the team as a whole.
Pep's going nowhere. Pep is going absolutely nowhere. He's just he's going absolutely. Listen, they'll just rectify the issue. If Guardiola goes out and says, right now I need 250 million this January, they'll go, here's 300. Go knock yourself out. If Ange Postecoglou goes, I need 150 million to sort this out, he'll go, there's 15. See what you can do. You have to sell to buy. See how the loan market is. Mate,
defence is the biggest problem here, wouldn't you say? That is what I'm saying. If he would just fix his defence the way he doesn't play defence, I think that would be 25% of his problem sorted.
Yeah, but listen, we can say that it's not going to happen. And my worry is Spence is very, very good going forward. Let's hope he's track. I mean, don't get me wrong, he came on and saved his bacon against Coventry.
Yes, he did.
He's done well when he's come off the bench or started in pre-season.
And gone on the left. He's looked all right when he's came on, hasn't he?
Yeah, but now we're seeing it in the Premier League where it matters. And I do think going forward he will offer us something. I really do defensively. And then if Destiny's up top, it's sad that we're talking like this. It's sad that we're having to talk like this. It's just what can you say? I don't know what's up.
I mean, Datrix, do you think if he would just sort out his defence, i.e., not so inverted on the back, not so high forward, do you think that would just sort out a significant amount of problems and be a good start?
If he stopped inverting two fullbacks and play the, let's say, the right personnel in the right position, like Dorrington at centre back with Dragusin, I think we will be fourth. If he did that from the start of the league, start of the season, I mean, we would have been fourth. But the amount of stupidity he did, now it's costing us. There's no need to invert two fullbacks like that. First of all, this is the first time I've ever seen that in my lifetime of watching football. It doesn't exist. But like I said, Ange is special. He thinks he's the messiah of football. So let's see what happens.
The only other team I've seen properly of late that used to inverted fullbacks to an extent was City. But with them, it was one at a time. It was one would go forward and the other would bring it
Yeah,
free
I
at the
mean, two
back.
at a
Or
time.
if at any time there was three of them forward, two of them forward, then you'd see a defender, defensive midfielder, or a midfielder come back and make it free at the back. One way or another, it was always covered at the back.
Because to my knowledge, usually inverted fullback, what it means is usually one goes in midfield and protects one of the midfielders. But I've never seen two inverted fullbacks that plays in attacking mid. That's never been like I've never seen that in my life. So
it's crazy. So do you think if he sorted that out, the defence, and even just played one inverting at a time, and the other comes back to cover it back three, do you think we would? So you do think we would have more points, and you think it would be a significant amount of these problems already solved?
if he did that last year, we would be in the Champions League, and if he did that this year, we would be in the top 4 race. We would not be in the position we are now. Because look at the amount of teams that are not playing well. Because the thing is, we don't struggle at scoring goals. What we struggle is trying not to concede. Because for the attack we have, it's arguably one of the worst attacks on paper. But we still manage to do the hardest thing in football, which is scoring goals. But defending is one of the easiest thing you can do. But he makes it like it's impossible, like it's an Einstein equation.
Fair enough. I mean, Dave, what do you reckon if he would just sort out this fucking defensive style that he's got? Do you think that would sort out a lot of problems?
Oh, that Margot Robbie's just on an advert. Sorry, what?
Do you think if he just sorted out his defensive style and stopped playing two inverted wing backs, whatever, and just sorted out his defensive problems, do you think that would sort out a lot of problems? Like, say,
easy answer is
of his issues.
Yeah, the easy answer is to say yes, it would. But, you know, increasing the defensive focus, would that take some of our attacking prowess away? Because as Dietrich's rightly said, we're actually quite good at scoring goals. And we can't take that for granted, because it is the hardest thing to do in football, is scoring goals. So you've got to give credit there. But defensively, we're very poor. And I think we've had this debate many a times. I think it's a mixture of the two. It is tactical. Yes, it is. Tactically, we could make a few tweaks, whether that's an extra 5 yards deeper on our line, less inversion all the time. Of course there is. But I also think our players make absolute basic human mistakes when it comes to defending. Poor decision making. You look at those Chelsea goals, for example. Most of them are down to poor player decisions, and we do that a lot. So I think it's a bit of both. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think there's just a bit of both. The players need to take some blame personally for making bad decisions on the pitch. But tactically, I think we could make some minor tweaks to make us a little bit harder to play against without taking away our attacking prowess. So, yeah.
No, with that, I agree with what you're saying. And the players do seem to get away with this a lot. I think they do need to take some more shit than they actually get. The whole lot gets focused on Ange, when at times maybe it's not all his fault. Yes, the majority, I will say, is down to the tactics and whatever else. But there is times that I mean, what Basuma done the other day, giving that penalty away, and Sarr, I've had this row with people where people said to me, I mean, it's personal opinion, Basuma going in for that tackle the way he did was criminal. He should have gone off for that and never played again for the next 5 games, sort of thing. That was stupid. Okay, it was out of desperation. Okay, it was a shot on goal, but I feel the keeper's got more chance of saving that shot from the angle than a bloody penalty. I don't know. Basuma run at him and scream something about the fella's mother or something. I don't know. Put him off. But the way he went in for that tackle was criminal. And Sarr, what the hell was he doing with that? He didn't even have to do that. We weren't even in a position where we had to tackle him, in my opinion. I think it comes down to players do make a lot of mistakes themselves. But is that down to the way that we defend, where there is so much pressure on them defenders 24/7, basically?
Dan, let me just say with this, and this is where I will come out in a little bit defence of Ange Postecoglou. I can guarantee, I think we can all guarantee, Ange Postecoglou did not tell or train Basuma to make challenges like that for the penalty or to lash
I'm
out.
100% with you.
Yeah, this is the thing. There's so much we can say, but the reason this keeps happening is if you look at that pitch when those two tackles happened, you tell me one leader on that pitch that was like, come on, lads, don't do this. Gee, like we don't do it. Let's just hold our ranks, just keep your composure, hold the fort for 5-10 minutes. Let's get a foothold back in this game, and then we'll go. Not one person on that pitch does that. Some of those performances, yes, the tactics sometimes have been wildly like we've been found out, but there's no they don't have any professional pride. They don't have any walk over that pitch and fight. Mate, you look at people like Colin Calderwood, Steve Sedgwick, I could give you a list of them. They weren't the greatest of talented players, but they had charisma. They had they had a responsibility that they knew wearing this badge meant something to the fans or whatever. There is no one on that pitch. Like you look at it right now, look, that lineup right now, like we said, still not one leader on that pitch.
No.
We'll say, do you know what? Let's keep our cool. This is what we do. We're going to see it through that game. Not one player there. The only one you could say with a bit of experience and now, Fraser Forster. And let's face it, goalkeeper's captain. Not that he's captain, but you go through that midfield. Like I said, Maddison. This is where I go fucking nuts at Maddison.
He's not captain material.
Madison, he won't be going, come on, lads, don't put your foot in, don't do this. Be like, he doesn't do it. He's experienced. There's no one on that pitch. There's like, I know the old school kind of players are a thing of the past, but there's no leaders to say we don't do that. Just hold fire.
No.
Sar's one, Bissouma, as you can see it coming, it was reckless and he should know better. Sar was just like, you know, when players lash out, where they're just pissed off. And you cannot make, you can't make those tackles under VAR as well. Because even if it would have been called up straight away, you just can't.
Mind you, I wouldn't go and say 100% called out.
But this is the thing, you just can't. There's no lead. There was no one on that pitch to say to Bissouma, or Bissouma should know better anyway. But there's no real clear leader that will say, you don't do this. You don't. There's just no one, and it will keep happening.
I mean, the problem is with the lack of leaders we got now. It's just a quick one, Beatrix. The lack of leaders we got, I totally agree. I mean, everyone's got their own opinion of who should be a leader, who shouldn't. For me, a goalkeeper should never be a captain. But there have been good goalkeepers as captains. But it's for me, personally, I wouldn't have it. Yes, the one I always bring up is an old school boy, Kane. He's my idol football player. He's the one I always loved. I used to play like him when I used to play football. I mean, Dave can vouch for that one. And I just used to love the way Roy Keane played football and the way he was a captain.
By the way, Dan used to play football in steel toe cap boots, by the way.
So there you go. People didn't like playing me. And with that, he's saying basically, Ange said at the start, we need players that are up for a fight. Basically, he's saying we need some players that are not just to play ball, but that got a pair of balls. Whereas for me, when it comes down to it, most of the players act like their balls ain't even dropped, let alone got a pair. There is no leaders on that pitch.
Yeah, I agree there's no leaders, but even, for example, on Bissouma's tackle, I even blame the manager for putting him in this position. Because if you put the right players, like let's say Porro at fullback and the center backs where they're supposed to be with the DM in front of them, you will not see Bissouma covering so much ground and making a stupid challenge like that. And when you make the players run so much, at a certain point, you lose concentration, you get fatigue. And that's when it's the right time to sub the players or tell them to relax, sit deep, stay compact.
I mean, I think what Miss Bunny just said is just perfect, basically. We have no see you next Tuesdays, Thursdays, whenever it's best to have a drink. Jose said it, we're too nice. And I think we've all been saying it for a while. We're just too accepting and we're just too bloody nice. So, right, I need to grab myself a beer and go and watch the game because I'm not doing a watch along because I'll have no computer screen left because I'll probably put my hand through it. At least if I'm looking at the TV, I have more willpower not to throw something at it because it's at a greater distance as such. And plus the TV costs a lot of money, a lot more money than the computer. So last of it, sadly, I'm going to go 2-1 Southampton. Dave?
So I didn't realise I was on mute. As I say, I'm going to have two results. We either lose 1-0 or we smash them 4-1.
No, you've got to pick one or the other.
4-1 Spurs. Go on, the Spurs.
Go on then, mate. Fair play to you. Daytrix.
2-1 Southampton.
And Brian.
I understand why you want to get a beer like Dave now if he's going 4-1 Tottenham like that. Jesus Christ. It's so hard because like Dave's got 2, I've got draw or defeat. I'd snap your hand off for a draw right now. And that's how bad things are at the moment. Or maybe I wouldn't snap your hand off for a draw. That's a bit of a... Joe, I'm going to go for a... I'm going to go 1-1.
It's so hard being a Spurs fan, isn't it?
But then both teams got... No, let me change that to 2-2. Let me change that to Desmond.
Yeah. Life's a bitch, then you get married, then you're a Spurs fan, then you die. There we go.
I blame the parents.
Yeah. Blatantly, it's their fault. Right, Dave, thanks for coming on. I'm sure we'll see you on here again soon, some stage. Daytrix, anywhere that you're going to be of late?
Well, if we lose, I'll be on Still Show tonight. If we win,
won't be
I'll
on
just
there
won't
if we
bother. No, I don't care if we win.
If we lose, you'll see
Honestly.
Dietrich in the Scotland Yard for the Liverpool game next week, as promised.
No, I said
And
no. I
Brian?
said if Spence and the other one plays well.
And Brian, you've got things up and running again from what I
Yeah,
said. When do we see you next?
I don't know. I might do a little reaction after the game, depending if I'm of a composed state, which probably won't happen. But Tottenham on tour are back. We're not going to be able to come back daily just of yet, but we're going to try and get some content out there. I'm going to hopefully have quite a few pre-recorded shows with a few of the people that are leading the protests to get awareness out there, to promote it, so people know the faces, or especially Jay, who has really taken the mantle with this one after the Chelsea performance. So you'll find me here and there. Jay is someone that came, says JAAY is Twitter is, but it's someone who came to the protest my lot organised, or I say my lot, the lot I'm with. It's not my lot, I'm with them. They're with me, whatever way, the group. He came to a few, and he was like, right, that's it, I've had enough. Because so many people, Dietrich, were messaging me, Billy Carnes, Stella got a few going, oh, you guys have got to get started again. You got to get started. It's like, well, why should we? We laid
it before and you got ignored.
And exactly. And it was all from no-name accounts. But Jay, I know personally and vouch for myself when I say he is organised something. I just hope people turn up. But we, again, back to it, Tottenham on tour, will hopefully be getting some content out, but it all revolves around my work day and if it's pre-recorded or recorded. But we had to come back. Dan, most importantly, brother, thanks for having me back on, bro.
Always fun, mate. Always fun having anyone on here. And Dave, Dietrich, thanks for coming on. Make sure you like and subscribe to Brian. I don't ask much, but just give us a like and subscribe at the end. Be much appreciated. I'm nearly on 4K. I've got about another 150 to go. Whether I get that before New Year's is a different story, but going to try. So as all I say with this one is then come on, you Spurs. Please prove me wrong. And as always,
whether Spurs prove us wrong or right, we win or not. And as always, Levy out.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.